Okay, we are starting from verse 11 today from Brahma Samhita. Sahasrasrisha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sahasrabahu Vishwatma Sahasram Saha Sahasrashu. Okay, translation. That Lord of the universe, Mahavishnu, possesses thousands upon thousands of faces, thousands upon thousands of eyes, thousands upon thousands of feet, thousands upon thousands of arms, thousands upon thousands of incarnations in thousands upon thousands of plenary expansions. He is the soul of the universe and the creator of thousands upon thousands of living beings. Purport. Mahavishnu, the object of worship of the hymns of all the Vedas, is endowed with infinite senses and potencies, and he is the original avatar from whom all other avatars descend. Okay, that's a short purport. That's yeah.
Does anyone have any thoughts on this verse they'd like to share? Anything? Suvasini Didi, anything come to mind? Jaya Dev. Sorry, were you going to say something? Were you going to say something to Vasini Didi?
No, Didi, no. Yeah, I don't have anything to say, actually.
Anyone else? Anything? Well, when I read this verse, and I feel so much appreciation that we have been given this ideal of Vrindavan Krishna, right? This very sweet and accessible form of the Lord. I'm reminded of, in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, right? Gopa Kumar, he's traversing through all the different planes of existence, and he finally, he reaches Dwaraka, right? And Krishna is in Dwaraka, but it is a different Krishna, actually. And this Krishna, there's some element of Aishvarya there, opulence, grandeur, and so when Gopal Kumar, by nature, he's a cowherd boy, and he's attracted, and he's also chanting this Gopal mantra, which is connected with that Vrindavan Krishna, the cowherd Krishna, Lord of the Gopis Krishna. And this is his nature. This is his intrinsic, his Swarup, you can say. And so when he sees this Krishna in Dwarka, he wants to run and give him a hug. He wants to embrace him. But when he tries to do that, the others around him, they restrain him. Oh, what are you doing? This is very inappropriate. What is this? and also I'm reminded of in Bhagavad Gita, Vishwarup Darshan, right? When Arjuna has this darshan of the Lord, this universal form of the Lord, which is very majestic, and this huge manifestation of the Lord, which is encompassing everything within the universe. And there are many who are attracted to that aspect of the Lord, this very great, awe-inspiring, magnificent expression of the Lord. So there are some who their mood of devotion, it correlates with that expression of the Lord. But Arjuna, he becomes a little fearful. He says, oh, my Lord, please, can you go back to that human-like form? I prefer that. I prefer that form. And there's also an interesting point there that Arjuna, when he sees, because Arjuna is used to relating to Krishna as his buddy, right? They share they'll sit on the same bed and talk together and share jokes together, eat at the same table, right? And Krishna's driving his chariot, for goodness sake, right? the Lord is driving his chariot. So he's used to this type of relationship with the Lord. But then when he's faced with this great, majestic, universal form, he immediately shifts, and he feels some fear, and he begin, there are these verses in Bhagavad Gita where he's apologizing to Krishna. Oh, please forgive me, in my foolishness and my ignorance, I called you in this very informal, hey Saketi, says, like, means like, oh my buddy, my pal, like, in my ignorance and my foolishness, I addressed you like this, and we sat on the same bed together, and oh, please forgive me for my offenses. And it's mentioned, I believe it's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that that devotees of a who are more in the Vrindavan mood, nothing will, what's the word I want? Nothing will derail that mood of intimacy that they have. Nothing, like there's an incident in Chaitanya Bhagavat, right, where Jagannath Mishra has to discipline young Nimai, right? Mahaprabhu is a young boy, and somebody tells him something like, oh, we've heard some things, we've seen some things, we think your son is not an ordinary boy, I don't know if it's good if you chastise him like this, and he seems like not an ordinary person. And Jagannath Mishra tells him, I don't care if he's the Supreme Lord himself. It's my duty to chastise him. It's my duty to discipline him. So those who have a stronger type of devotion in the Vrindavan mood, nothing will sway, will sway them. There's not going to be any awe and reverence, under no circumstances. And there's also that incident with Mother Jashoda, right? When they don't like hearing that it's possible, he's this great being. Mother Jashoda, when she hears things like that, she thinks of them as vicious rumors, that are a ploy to take him away. And then there's that incident when she looks into his mouth, and she sees all the whole cosmos is inside of there. And for some split second, she's like questioning, oh, I have heard these rumors. What is this? She's just questioning. And then suddenly there's like a cat that meows, and baby Krishna clutches hold of her. And then she's thinking, oh, he's my own boy. So this is mentioned, I believe it's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that those who are in that Vrindavan mood of devotion, nothing will sway that intimate feeling that they have with the Lord. Nothing will move them from that. But Arjuna, he has a different type of devotion, and for some period of time he's feeling this fear, confronted with this very awesome, awesome in the original sense, awesome expression of the Lord, the Vishnu. So when I read this verse, like there's something wonderful about it. It's so wonderful that Lord of the universe was thousands upon thousands of faces, thousands upon thousands of eyes and feet and arms and so on, thousands upon thousands of plenary expansions. He's the soul of the universe. I mean, it's so great, it's so wonderful, and we all want to bow down and give our prayers and give our worship, give our reverence, right? But then there's also that part of us which is like, oh, thank goodness, we know about Krishna. Thank goodness for that. That's sweet and charming, most approachable manifestation of the Lord. We are so fortunate. We are so fortunate. Reality, that sweet reality, charming reality, where love, beauty, charm is eclipsing everything else. But not everyone can appreciate this. Not everyone can appreciate this. So we must consider ourselves fortunate that, however lacking we may be, at least we have some appreciation for this fine ideal. This aprakrita. This is hidden posing of the Lord, human-like posing of the Lord. We are blessed that we can have. It takes some refined theistic intellect, intelligence to be able to appreciate this. it is easy to become impressed by such a manifestation of the Lord as what is being described here. But takes more refined understanding, more refined appreciation to appreciate who is Krishna. So that's all I really have to say about that. Should we go on to verse 12, or anyone else want to make any comment? Okay, then Jayadev's with us today on camera. Will you in verse 12?
Yeah, and I have like a sort of thought or question bubbling around, but I don't know if it's going to come into words, but I'll just make a statement and maybe it'll turn into a question later. I really, really love like the Narayan form of Vishnu with 4 arms and Garuda. Like like my heart actually like not flutters, but like there's something touching about that form that I love so much. Like when I read in the Srimad Bhagavatam and he appears before Brahma, or he appears before, and I wonder, is there any use to that? Is that kind of just my ego posing over, is it just my own personal reference? Because I've always, and Ananta with all his hoods, like he's so beautiful, like all this giant, like the cobra hoods and so many hoods and so many mouths, like those images move me deeply for some reason. And of course, Krishna as well, but I love those. Like I have love for those. I have love for Lord Nrsimha, at least from my tiny little ego level. I love the form of Lord Nrsimha. Like he's so beautiful. So like, is there any use to that? Is that just some like covering, or is it maybe kind of that idea of different branches of the Vedas? So I'm on a very low position. So those lower branches of the Vedas and maybe quote lower or removed expansions have more appeal to me. They don't have more appeal than Krishna, but I love that. I don't know. There's something appealing about him in that form, those forms. So
well,
I guess
go, please finish your thought, Prabhu.
Even the name Narayana, I love that name. I chant that sometimes just because I love it, Anyways, yeah.
Well, I was going to say that I'm reminded of a comment Srila Sridhar Maharaj made in his final years, that recently I'm developing some appreciation for Krishna. And he also expressed, that he in his life he had more attraction, because he always appreciated the spirit of sacrifice, and so he appreciated Radharani, he appreciated the ideal of Ramachandra also, and Krishna last, but he made that comment in his final days. Recently, I've developed some appreciation for Krishna. And, who am I to comment, on your devotion? I'm not in any position to comment. And when I'm speaking as I was just now, I'm speaking in the general sense. I'm not saying that, oh, I have this devotion for Krishna or whatever. I'm speaking about the ideal in a general sense. We appreciate the ideal, but actually like traversing, like moving across this terrain, that's a different matter. And what feeling do we genuinely have in our heart? That's a different matter. So if you have genuine feeling for Narayan, these different forms of Lord, I think that's incredible. I think that's so beautiful. That's something to be celebrated. And another thing is that, the more that we develop in our understanding of what Krishna consciousness is, the more we appreciate the nuance, right? And the more we appreciate the subtleties of relationships and particular devatas, right? Like in the beginning, the simplistic, what we're told in a simplistic way is, we worship Krishna, we don't worship the other devas, right? We're just all about Krishna. Jai Galokapati, we love you. Kind of be a son, a bit of a character, very energetic. Like Gurudev, like would talk about Hanuman, He had so much appreciation for Hanuman, right? And I remember one time I'm trying to remember who it was, but I remember one time he had this minor accident and he injured his finger. And it was very funny actually, because at the same time, several of us also got these finger injuries. I also got one. I think Lolita got one, or a few others. It was very, very mystical. But Gurudev, he like kind of caught his finger on one of these Indian sliding, you see them in India, these iron sliding gates. And but he made some comment that I think he said, like, if I had a picture of Nrsingadev, like it wouldn't have happened, something like that. Like it was some deity. I think it might have been Nrsingadev. There are so many nuances there. At the same time, he, like another example was this temple at Nishinga in the area of actually was the Nrishingapali temple, which is has a very ancient deity of Nrsingadev. And at one time the local king wanted to give that temple to our Gurudev. And our Gurudev said, we are worshippers of Krishna Mahaprabhu, our focus is there, and he said, but if Nrsingadev wants to come to us and take our service, then we will accept that. There are so many nuances in the relationships and all these things. So, and I feel in the beginning, this very simple statement is given, like, just focus on Krishna, because otherwise we can get kind of lost out there. Lose our perspective, lose the central focus. But once you enter into more refined understanding, then you will start developing your own relationship, like Lord Shiva, right? Like, actually Gurudev, we hear of instances of, or particular relationships that Srila Sridhar Maharaj had, Srila Govinda Maharaj had with Lord Shiva, Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Vinod. They all had like some like profound, deep relationship with Lord Shiva.
Actually, the more I've read Srila Gurudeva and Srila Sridhar Maharaj talk about, and Bhagavatam talk about Shiva, the more I love him. Like the more love I have for Shiva from the way that the Vaishnava lens, how he's seen through that lens. Whereas, because I've had association with other Shaivite traditions, I didn't love Shiva then, like I do now, because of the way that the Vaishnavas and the way that the Bhagavat Puranas and that whole angle on Shiva, the expression of who Shiva is so much more beautiful than from the Shaivite tradition, which is very dry. It doesn't have that richness and sweetness. So I think it's a more accurate way of looking at Shiva than from the Shaivite traditions, if that makes sense, that I've ever been exposed to.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful to hear. Beautiful to hear. And again, like going back to this point about nuance, like think, like sometimes I think about Ramachandra, like how glorious is Ramachandra, how wonderful is Lord Ramachandra. Maybe we're not worshiping Ramachandra on our altar, and his particular example doesn't represent our ideal, but can we not have some degree of devotion, for Ramachandra? Would we not? Of course we must. All of them. How wonderful, how glorious, how beautiful are all of them, all of these forms of the Lord. It is natural. So I mean, to me, I think what you've expressed is very admirable, and beautiful, and authentic. So. And we are ultimately holding tight to the lotus feet of our Gurudev, right? And we know that he will take care of us. He will guide us. He will guide us. So we don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about that. And if we feel any type of attraction, to any aspect of that higher plane, that's a very good thing. That's a very good thing. Anything that's inspiring us, right, to move forward, to go on, to continue on the path, that is a very good thing. So, yeah, but again, I just feel like what you said is something so deep and personal, and I'm not in a position to comment. That's like unique devotional relationship that you have. Like, who am I to pass any statement on that? Okay. anything Jayade?
Oh, so I was going to read. You wanted me to read it, I
Okay.
guess?
That's right. So we're on 12, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Narayana sa Bhagavan apastasmat sanatanat. Oh wait, let me get I just got reading glasses because I'm a little bit farsighted. It helps so much. Oh yeah, here we go. Narayana sa Bhagavan apastasmat sanatanat avirasit karanarano nidhi sankarshanatmakaha yogindram katastasmin sahasrangsha swayam mahan. Translation: Mahavishnu is known as Narayana in the mundane world. From this eternal personality, the water of the causal ocean is born. A plenary portion of Sankarshana, of the Paravyoma, with thousands upon thousands of plenary expansions. He is the supreme personality of Godhead, the supreme male. For his divine sleep, Yoga Nidra, he reclines upon those waters of the causal ocean. Purport: the Supreme Lord's ecstatic trance in the intrinsic joy of his own self is called Yoga Nidra. Rama Devi, mentioned previously, is herself Yoga Nidra personified as Yoga Maya, the divine potency of the Lord. Wow. So that explains Yoga Maya a little bit more too. That's cool. Because someone was asking in one of the earlier, someone was asking something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, someone was asking about her.
So Rama is Lakshmi, but Rama is also right in this case, I think.
Well, I mean, what can we say, right? That, they're all coming from the same source, right? They're all expansions of Radharani ultimately. Whether Lakshmi is used synonymously with Rama, I'm not sure. But perhaps some distinction is being made here. Brahma Devi is herself Yoga Nidra personified as Yoga Maya, the divine potency of the Lord.
Maybe we can check the other version. I keep getting to bring it over here. It's back in the other house to see if there's any different thing in the purport.
The ISKCON version, you're saying?
Well, it was pre-ISKCON, but yeah, it was written by devotees of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. I think, I can't remember who.
I find it so wonderful, how, in that divine conscious plane, everything is conscious, everything is personified, even the sleep of the Lord, that is there's a deity, who represents the Lord's sleep. Very, very wonderful. Well, I don't have any other comment. Anyone else? Anything to bring up there? Radhana Rupini, looks like you're going to unmute yourself.
Dandavats, Didi.
Dandavats.
Yeah, I was also thinking about how even, Krishna's conch shell has a name, Krishna's flute has a name. It's just amazing. But also I was thinking about when we were reading about Mahavishnu Priya lying in the causal ocean, I don't know why it came to my mind about the pastime of baby Krishna and Mother Yasoda when she was scolding him, and then he opens his mouth and then he reveals the whole cosmic manifestation in his mouth, and then he closes it. She says, "Don't you ever do that again. Don't you open your mouth." But it's almost like he shows his grandness, which is, it's more awe and reverence. Then he closes his mouth to catch her heart again, to bring it back into Vrindavan as a baby Krishna. Yeah.
Beautiful, Didi. Thank you for sharing that. And welcome those of you who've come a little late. I see Steve is with us, Dana, and Chintamani is tuning in from somewhere. I thought she'd be on the plane right now. She's tuning in. All right.
Her flight's in the afternoon for us, so it's still morning.
Okay.
She's probably scrambling to get ready.
Right. Okay, so we are on to verse 13. Maybe I'll read this one. Tad Roma Bila Jaleshu Bijam Sankarshanascha Haimanyandani Jatani Mahabhuta Ratani tu. The divine seeds of Sankarshan are born from the pores of Mahavishnu as infinite golden egg cells. Those golden cells are covered by the 5 predominant material elements. Purport. Such is the colossal magnitude of the function of the primal avatar personality who reclines on the waters of the causal ocean. Infinite billions of seeds, each a universe, are produced from the cavities of his bodily pores. Those universes are copies of the infinite abode of the spiritual world. As long as they remain within the body of the Purusha avatar, they are as a lower or hazy aspect of divinity, Chidabhas, something like golden eggs. But when Mahavishnu decides to bring about the creation of this world, the subtle existence of the predominant material elements, which participates as a factor of the Mayic instrumental and efficient causes, envelops them. Those golden cosmic eggs emanate with the exhalation of the Supreme Personality. And when they enter into the unlimited womb chamber of Maya, they are augmented by the unamalgated 5 mundane elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So another extraordinary, image. Many of you're familiar with these dome projects of Avadut Marj, and he's produced many films. But my favorite out of all of them, and I only ever saw it once, it's not one of the more widely shown ones for some reason, was a film that was depicting this. And I felt like, this is the proper utilization of this like immersive film. It was wonderful, showing this huge form of Mahavishnu with all of these universes coming out of his pores. And unfortunately, I never saw it in any of the later films. But it is such an extraordinary image. And it gives you so much perspective. Right? What is my place within the whole, within this great, cosmic manifestation? What is my small place, within this? Very wonderful. So with every exhalation, these infinite, universes are coming out of his pores, and then that also represents, that one exhalation represents how many billions and billions of years, right, in our time frame. And then with every inhalation, he's reabsorbing them, and the universal devastation takes place. It is an extraordinary, wonderful thought. Okay. Giridhari Prabhu, you want to share verse 14 with us, lead us with verse 14. And Marie
Sure.
has been putting some nice comments in the chat, by the way, which I can't really read, unfortunately, on the phone very well, but they look very interesting.
Pratyandam eva kasman ekasvad ekansvad vishati swayam srasramudha vishatma Mahavishnu Santana. Translation: that Mahavishnu enters into each and every universe or cosmic egg in his individual planetary portions.
Can you
All
read a
those
little
divine
louder?
portions. Okay, sorry. Yeah. All those divine portions are his supermundane almighty form, the eternal form of Mahavishnu with thousands upon thousands of heads, the soul of the universe. Report. Mahavishnu reclining on the causal ocean is the plenary portion of the Mahasankarshan. As many universes emanate from him, he enters into every one of them as his personal portions. Every one of those portions is the Garbhodakshayi Purusha, who is in all respects similar to Mahavishnu. Garbhodakshayi Vishnu is known as the aggregate Antaryami, or the collective, omnipresent supersoul of the universes.
So these are three forms of Vishnu, right? We've heard of two of them so far. Perhaps in the next verses we have the third, but these are known as the Purusha avatars. Of course, most of you are very familiar with this, but these are three forms of Vishnu who manage the whole mundane manifestation. And Mahavishnu, also known as Karana Dakashaya Vishnu, is resting in this Karana ocean, causal ocean. And then from his pores, these billions of universes or trillions are coming out. And then he expands into the second form, who's being described in this verse, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. And then he enters into each one of these individual golden eggs or Brahmandas or universal systems, as you like it. And then that Garbhodakashaya, each individual Garbhodakashaya is overseeing each individual universal system, reclining at the bottom there, resting, as Jayadev was describing earlier on, this Ananta Shesh, this divine serpent form expansion of Sankarshan, Baladev. And then there's also a third expansion, Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, and one of his functions is as what we refer to as Paramatma, super soul, right? So that Kshirodakashaya or Paramatma is the super soul. Our Gurudev expressed it like this nicely. It's also, this description is also kind of given here. This idea that this Kshirodakashaya or Paramatma is the super soul of every individual living entity. The Garbhodakashaya Vishnu is the super soul of every individual universal system. And then this Mahavishnu, Karanakakashaya Vishnu, is the super soul of the entire mundane creation. And they're managing this whole sphere, right? So that Krishna can play. Krishna's delegating all this stuff, you know, management, creation. He's passing that on to them. So, okay, how are we doing for time here? Still have some time. Should we go on to verse 15? Suvasini Didi, should we go back to you? Verse 15.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I also want to say that, you know, the Mahavishnu, the deity, Mahavishnu lying on the, you know, the bed of Ananta sages, this in Sri Rangam, you know, this is the deity, main deity in Sri Rangam. Yeah. And also the temple where Adikeshwar temple, where Mahaprabhu got the Brahma Samhita. He actually found the Brahma Samhita at the Adikeshwar temple. And there also this deity is this Mahavishnu, you know, this, yeah.
And by what name is he worshipped?
In the Sri Rangam is Ranganath. Sri Rangam. Yeah. And this is, I think it's Adikeshwar temple, but and Padma, there's also the same deity in Trivandrum, where Thiruvananthapuram it's called, and also Mahaprabhu went there, you know, that in Kerala, there's also the same deity, you know, and Mahavishnu lying like this, and they have like you can say 3 doors, like, you know, you can see the feet, you know, through one door. It's a long, you know, deity like that. It's very beautiful.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, and in you can see the middle portion, and then the front. And this temple, Adikeshwar temple, where the Brahma Samhita Mahaprabhu got, it's actually it is even, they say in Trivandrum, the Padmanabha Swami, that is the long, you know, so much feet, I don't remember, but they said when we went there, you know, this is even bigger than that deity there. It's like, it's a very, very nice, very beautiful deity, the Mahavishnu deity there.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
sorry, my connection.
Yeah, you froze for a minute or so, like that.
Yeah. That deity is also known as Ranganath.
No, in Sri Rangam is called Ranganath, but I think in Adikeshwar, they call Adikeshwar temple in this, where the Mahaprabhu found Brahma Samhita, it's Adikeshwar. And in Trivandrum, it's called,
to him as Adikeshava.
Yeah. And also, I think so. Because they call Adikeshwar temple, so I assume that it's Adikeshwar.
Right, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and in Trivandrum, that's called Padmanabha Swami. Padmanabha, like, you know, the Brahma coming out, you know, from this, from the navel, right? That is also there.
Really, the deity is depicting that.
Yeah, the Brahma, and you have Lakshmi Devi sitting at the foot, and then you have like the Brahma. I think it is, I can't remember, one temple they have this Brahma also, maybe offering prayers and like that, you know, that way. Yeah, there's this deity is a very ancient deity, that in both in Padmanabha Swami and the Adikeshwar temple. So I just wanted to mention that, yeah. And
when you were growing up, what was like the principal deity of your family?
Actually, we grew up in this, in South India, mostly it's the Vishnu worship. It's like, you know, Vishnu worship is more prominent. And so in our place, in my personally, at my home, it's my father worship Lord Ramachandra is the main.
That's right. You told me
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
And the
Mhm.
Vishnu is that's the principle in the, you know, the street where I grew up is the Vishnu temple is there, you know, that Vishnu temple is there. And it
Mhm.
is like a grand, very beautiful and also grand. And people are very also, I can say, you know, with so much loving worship is also there, you know, with so much love,
Mhm.
because they do decorate the, you know, in a very grand way. They decorate the deity, you know, with so much jewelry, and they will appreciate each and every jewelry. I remember, oh, they got this new jewel, and how beautiful it is on the Lord, you know, like that, you know. So they will put the jewelry, and they will, everybody will see that and then say, this is a new day. Oh, how wonderful it is. You know, they will appreciate everything. And you know, very,
You're saying the local people, they will give these gifts of new jewels to the deities.
not the local people, but somebody who will, you know, able to donate. But the local people will all
They
gather
will
and
admire
then
it.
appreciate, admire that. And
I
then
see.
yeah, and we have this this called Garuda Seva. Garuda, you know, the Lord is carried on the Garuda. You know, it's like Jay was talking about this grand. It's very, very to participate in that Garuda Seva. It's called Garuda Seva. It's a very wonderful thing. You know, they carry the Lord on the grand, very grand on the Garuda, and you know, the Garuda is like, it's really big. And then the Lord, it's actually the Lord who can take out, it's another Vigraha. It is not the main deity is in the temple, but they can carry that, you know.
Oh, what we call Vijay Vigraha
Vijay
sometimes.
Vigraha, yeah, that kind of thing. They carry that on the street, like Garuda Seva is like the whole town will be participating in that kind of thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful time, you know. It's they have like a certain days of the year. It's like, you know, special days that will all come out, you know, with a very grand music and chanting and, you know, so many things. It's like that. So, yeah.
This is Suvasini's childhood. This is how she grew up. I love when I get to hear these stories. It's like an age which probably barely exists today. Like that type of atmosphere would probably be difficult. Like in that town where you grew up, it's probably not the same now, right?
It's not the same, but they still do the Garuda Seva on that occasions, you know, wherever then there. But maybe and that time this is the number of people who will come. Even now it is there, but it is, I don't know, that will be a very festive atmosphere, and, you know, like that too. The whole town will be like gathering. And even now it happens, the Garuda Seva happens in I see that you know, the pictures and like that. Yeah.
But I'm speaking about this atmosphere of like very staunch, you know, like religious culture, like strong religious culture.
Yes, yeah.
That was very prevalent when you were growing up.
Yeah. And they will welcome the Lord in every house, like when the Lord is carried on this Garuda Seva. In every house, they will clean the front of the house, and, you know, and they put like, you know, this kind of rangoli, you know, rangoli. There's and every decorations, and they will welcome the Lord, and every place that the Lord will stop, and then everybody will come and they will do the arati at, you know, every, you know, few.
Every home they'll do an arati.
It's like, you know, they move a little bit and then they'll stop and they'll do an, you know, the priest will do the arati, everybody will gather and they will go behind that Garuda Seva, they will go behind or front, and, you know, the chanting and like that kind of. It's a very grand celebration. And I love Garuda Seva whenever it happens. It's like, it's a very, very nice, nice time at that time. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm,
And in Sri Rangam, this kind of functions happens very frequently in Sri Rangam, that in the
mhm,
Sri Sampradaya, there's all mostly Sri Vaishnavas, everybody there, Sri Vaishnavas. And this
mhm,
kind of grand worship is there. And they, have, it is, what I wanted to say is yes, there is a lot of awe and reverence and, grand and majestic worship, but they also have, the love with which they do it. That is, there is, you can see that also in that.
mhm. There's some genuine, like, natural affection and
Yeah,
attachment.
attachment to that, to the
Mhm,
present to the Lord, something which is wonderful, and they bring so many things and decorate like that, with the flowers and jewels and everything. Like some attraction is there, like Jay Dev was mentioned, some attraction with that,
mhm,
with the real genuine love that they do it, I just noticed like that. I noticed the people who have that,
mhm, mhm,
yeah.
mhm. Very beautiful to hear, Suvasini TV. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah. I'm gone into that's old times now.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well,
Okay.
we still have a little time. Should we hear verse 15, is it?
Okay. Okay, verse 15. Vamangat asrijat Vishnum Dakshinangat Prajapatim Jyotir, what is this? Lingamayam, Illingamayam. Sorry.
I don't know if it's a typo or not. There's 2 L's. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
good or a
Let
typo.
me
I'm not
see.
sure.
Jyotir. No, there is 2 L. Yeah. It is
Yeah.
in Sanskrit also. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
Okay.
Jyotir Lingamayam. It's Lingamayam Shambhum Kurcha Desat Avasrijat. Okay, so just somebody's joining. 1 second. Yeah. Translation. Mahavishnu created Vishnu from his left side, Prajapati from his right side, and he created Shambhu, the divine manifested masculine effulgence, from between his eyebrows. Purport. Here, Sri Vishnu refers to the individual Antaryami or super soul present in the hearts of all jivas, the Chiro, the Kasai Purusha, reclining on the ocean of milk. Prajapati or primal progenitor as the Supreme Lord's portion, Hiranyagarbha, is distinct from four-headed Brahma in that he is the seed principle of all the Brahmas of the countless universes. The divine manifested masculine effulgence form of Shambhu is the plenary manifestation of his origin, the original primal male generative Shambhu, who has been described previously. Vishnu is the plenary expansion entity, Swamsa Tattva of Mahavishnu, and thus he is Sarva Maheshwara, or the Supreme Lord of all. And Prajapati, Brahma, and Shambhu are Mahavishnu's separated parts, Vibhinamsha, and thus they are gods of delegated office. Since the Lord's personal potency always stays at his left side, Vishnu, who appears from Mahavishnu's transcendental potency of unalloyed reality, appears from the left side of his body. Vishnu is the super soul present within the hearts of all jivas. He is the personality of Godhead described in the Vedas as being the measure of a thumb. He is the preserver. The karmis or elevationists worship him as Yagneshwara Narayana, or the Lord of Sacrifices, and the yogis meditate on him as Paramatman, desiring to become one with him. Okay.
All right, thank you, Savasini Didi. So this is here we've heard of the third of these Purusha avatars. We were just mentioning this Kshirodakashai, otherwise known as Paramatma. Also is mentioned here Yajneshwar Narayam. And we're also hearing about the roles of Lord Brahma and Shambhu, the running of this mundane sphere. Anyone have anything to bring up here? This next verse is very interesting, bringing up this point of ego and the relationship with Lord Shiva. Very interesting. Well, what do you say? Maybe we should close here for today, or should we read one more verse? Okay, Ananda's saying one more, and Dulal's also saying one more. Okay. Okay. Marie, do you want to read this one for us?
I can do that.
I'm kind of captured by this point about Ahankar. Kaushal, you look exactly the same. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm having a reunion here. These devotees from Latvia just arrived. I've known Kaushalya since she was at my knee, she's 6 years old. Now she's a young lady. She used to steal my apples all the time, every day. I'm sorry. I feel very bad for it. I'm sorry. Every day I would come to her office and look for food. You would hide it. Now I'm like, oh my God. All your crackers, everything. That was so bad. She's a lovely girl. And she used to be so eager to do service, and it was so difficult because she'd be like 7 years old and she couldn't really do anything to help, but she wanted to help. So I try and find something to keep her busy, Every day. I remember I found some laminating for her to do, but she was so eager, she always wanted to do something. Planting flowers and anything. I was happy to be a part of something. Amazing to see you. We're having a Brahma Samhita meeting. No, don't be sorry. Everyone's happy to meet. These are our good friends here. Suvasni in Ireland. And here's Jayadev waving at you. He's in USA. Giridhari Prabhu in USA. This is Marie, USA. Radhana Rupini. Here's Hari Gopal, her older brother. He's giving the Dhanavats to you. They say hello to everyone. I want to see the back here.
Hello.
Yeah, it was very wonderful devotees. And they lived in Navadvip for 5-6 years. Was it 6 years, 5 years? When they were very young. And so we had many adventures there together.
He's losing it.
Okay, well, should we?
That was way better than reading a verse. That was the living Vaishnava. That's so beautiful. Yeah.
I'm surrounded. I feel like I'm surrounded by my children here. Around the teenagers. My kids. Okay, well, maybe we'll stop there. Maybe we'll stop there for today. Well, beautiful as always to meet with all of you. And unfortunately, this is going to be our last meeting for 3 weeks. We're going to India on Sunday. So we'll meet next time, the last Wednesday of February. Or I'm not sure, actually. You have to check what date it will be. I don't know if anyone has that in front of them, a calendar.
Maybe it will be on 1st of March, probably the
1st of
Wednesday.
March. Okay, yeah. So Wednesday, the 1st of March, we will resume. Yeah.
Safe
Okay.
travels, Didi. Safe
Yeah.
travels.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you so much. Tungaras is coming with us, and Dulal Prabhu is joining us. We've got a beautiful group. Right. Jai for the
Have a wonderful time. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Dandavad.
Jai Sundar, Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai.
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 Goswami Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai.
Harva Govinda Sundar Ji ki Jai.
Jai.
All these
Jai.
devotees, sincere seekers ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Hari
Jai.
Maha ki Jai.
Jai.
Haribo.
Shaka Didi ki Jai.
Jai. Thank you for your association.